All right, let's jump right in. We're going to talk about a really powerful idea when it comes to building trust and why, honestly, most organizations get it totally wrong. You've heard this a million times, right? That trust is the foundation of everything. If you want to build a strong, stable company, you have to start with trust. It's like rule number one. But what if that's just wrong? What if we've got it completely backwards? In this explainer, we're going to flip that idea on its head and show you that trust isn't the foundation at all. We'll look at what really creates stability that lasts. Okay, so let's start by tackling this trust myth head on. Think about it. When a company says, we need to build more trust, what do they actually do? The answer usually points to a huge misunderstanding of how this all works. And this slide, this really gets to the heart of it. On one hand, you've got what we can call performative trust. This is all about talking. The big messaging campaigns, the listening sessions, the posters with company values. It looks good, it feels like you're doing something, but it's super fragile. Then, on the other side, you have earned trust. And this is totally different. It's not something you announce, it just happens. It grows out of people seeing predictable behavior and fair systems over and over. It's about what you do, not what you say. So, here's the absolute key takeaway. You can't just decide to launch a trust initiative. It doesn't work that way. Trust is an outcome. It's what you get when you have a well-designed system that people can rely on. So if you can't talk your way to trust, how do you get there? Well, you need a different way of thinking. You need to stop thinking like a marketer and start thinking like an architect. So let's look at the blueprint for how this is actually built, right from the foundation up. And here it is. This is the architecture. It's a sequence, and you can't skip any steps. Look, it all starts with structure. A solid structure, when it's fair and people can count on it, creates legitimacy. People believe in it. And that legitimacy is what produces real earned trust. And then finally, that trust is what gives you stability. See the flow? Each layer builds on the one before it. All right, so let's dig into each of these 4 layers, because if you really want to build something that can stand the test of time, you've got to understand how each one works. Okay, layer 1, structure. This is the absolute foundation. Think of it like the plumbing and the wiring in a house. It's the stuff you don't always see, but nothing works without it. It's the system of rules, who's responsible for what, and how people are held accountable. It basically answers the question, how do things really get done around here? Now, on top of that structure, we build layer 2, legitimacy. And this is crucial. It's not enough to just have rules. Legitimacy is when people actually believe the system is fair. They see that the rules are applied consistently and that the people in charge are operating in good faith. It answers a simple but vital question. Can I believe in this system? And see, it's only after you have legitimacy that you can get to layer 3, trust. This is the thing we've been talking about. But it doesn't come from a campaign, it just grows. It emerges organically when people see that legitimate system working predictably time and time again. It's less of a feeling and more of an observation of reliability. And that brings us to the top of the pyramid, layer 4, stability. And let's be clear, stability isn't just quiet. It's not just the absence of problems. It's resilience. It's the ability of the organization to take a punch, to handle conflict, to change and adapt without shattering. This is what we're actually trying to build. Okay, so you've built this thing, but how do you know if it's actually strong? How do you know if the architecture is solid? Well, you don't find out when everything's going great. The real proof is what happens when things get tough. Yeah, any ship can look seaworthy in a calm harbor, right? But that tells you nothing about how we'll handle a storm. The calm times don't reveal a system's true character. The real test is when you're under stress. That's when the cracks show. That's when everyone gets to see what the organization is really made of. And in those high-pressure moments, people are watching. They're looking for signals. Do we stick to our principles, or do we throw them out the window? Do leaders stay calm, or do they lose it? Is accountability still a thing for everyone? When people see the system hold firm under pressure, that's when trust isn't just maintained, it's actually forged. It gets stronger. And this right here really nails the difference in mindset. A manager tends to ask, are people happy? Do they like the system today? They're focused on sentiment. But a builder, an architect, they ask a totally different question. They ask, will this system hold up in 5 years? Will it survive a crisis? They're not looking for approval, they're building for durability. Which brings us to what a leader's job really is in this whole model. It's not about being a great speaker or having a ton of charisma. It's about being the architect of the system.
So, true leadership isn't about the big performance. It's about the quiet, consistent, and sometimes boring work of pattern maintenance. It's making sure the rules apply to everyone. It's protecting the integrity of the whole structure. It's making sure the system stays predictable. The real job is to preserve the system's legitimacy, day in and day out.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's pretty simple, really. Stop trying to talk your way to trust. Start building the architecture that actually produces it. Because at the end of the day, stable institutions aren't created with communication strategies. They're created with governance architecture.